The day Earth was erased became a holiday across the galaxy. On the central world of the Galactic Council, banners floated in the air. Alien leaders gathered inside a massive chamber made of glass and light. Screens showed the final image of Earth, blue-green, alive, just seconds before it vanished into fire. To the Council, it was a clean victory. Humans had been noisy, emotional, difficult to control, and now they were gone. The Council declared it official: humanity was extinct. Records were updated. Maps were changed. Earth's location was marked with one word: empty. Young alien students learned about humans only as a footnote in history. Teachers described them as stubborn and fragile, a species that talked too much and fought too often, a species that did not know its place. Most believed the story, but not everyone. Deep inside the Council's old archives, hidden under layers of forgotten data, an ancient file still existed. It was never erased. No one knew why. The file was simple. Only one line remained readable: if humans ever return, do not provoke them. Centuries passed. New empires rose. Old ones fell. The galaxy moved on. Trade routes replaced battle zones. Council members changed faces, shapes, even species. Earth became a myth. Humans became a joke, and silence followed. No signals, no ships, no warnings. The galaxy decided the silence meant surrender, until one quiet cycle changed everything. At a deep space monitoring station near the edge of known space, an alien technician named Rel sat alone. His job was boring. It always was. Watch screens, drink warm nutrient fluid, log empty space. That day felt no different, until one screen flickered. Rel leaned closer. His eyes narrowed. System glitch, he muttered. But the signal did not fade. It grew stronger. The computer began translating the data. The energy pattern was wrong. Too smooth. Too controlled. Nothing like pirate ships. Nothing like Council tech. Rel's heartbeat quickened. He sent a report. Moments later, alarms echoed through the station. Other screens lit up. Not one object. Not 200s. A fleet was emerging from deep space, silent, organized, perfectly aligned. No flags, no symbols. No known design. Command officers rushed in. They stared at the display, confused and uneasy. Identify the origin, one demanded. The system paused, then displayed a result no one expected. Origin Sol system, status destroyed, probability of error 0. The room went silent. That was impossible. The Sol system was dead. Earth was gone. Humans were gone. The fleet moved closer, still silent. No weapons charged, no threats sent, just presence. A message finally arrived. Not loud, not aggressive, simple, clear, 3 words: we are human. Across the galaxy, council chambers filled with panic. Old leaders searched ancient records. Younger ones laughed nervously, thinking it was a trick. But historians felt something colder than fear. They felt recognition. Humans had not screamed when Earth fell. They had not begged. They had not returned quickly. They had disappeared. And now, after centuries of silence, they were back. Not shouting, not angry, just watching. One elderly council member whispered words no one wanted to hear. Earth is gone, but humanity is not. And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy understood something terrible. The silence had never meant weakness. It had meant waiting. The Galactic Council had faced wars before. They had faced rebellions, monsters, and collapsing stars. But they had never faced a species that returned from being erased. Council chambers filled with noise. Voices overlapped. Screens flashed warnings from across the galaxy. The human fleet did not rush forward. It moved slowly, calmly, as if time itself belonged to them. That scared the Council more than weapons. Admiral Keth, a veteran commander with scars from many battles, stared at the projection of the human ships. They were massive but clean in design. No wasted movement. No fear. Why aren't they attacking? He asked. No one answered. A historian named Valen stepped forward. His voice was quiet but steady. Because humans never rushed, he said. Even before Earth was destroyed. The room fell silent. Valen opened old records, files no one had touched in centuries. Images of early humans appeared. Small, fragile, standing on a dangerous world filled with storms, predators, and disasters. They lived on a death world. Valen continued. Earth tried to kill them every day. They survived by adapting, by learning, by remembering. A council member scoffed. They were emotional, unstable. Valen nodded. Yes, and they learned from it. Outside the council chambers, alien fleets began to mobilize. Warships formed lines. Weapons powered up. Still, the human fleet did nothing. No threats, no warnings, no demands. Just silence. That silence began to feel heavy. At the edge of the human formation, small drones moved forward. They did not attack. They scanned. They watched. Every military base, every defense grid, every weapon system was mapped. The council realized something too late. Humans were studying them. Admiral Keth slammed his claw on the table. Open a channel. Demand answers. The transmission was sent. Seconds passed, then minutes. Finally a response came. Not a threat, not an insult. A calm human voice spoke in simple galactic common. "We did not come to conquer," the voice said. "What came to confirm?" "Confirm what?" Keth demanded. There was a pause, just long enough to feel intentional. "That you are the same," the human replied. The channel closed. Confusion spread through the chamber. "What does that mean?" someone asked. Valen already knew. His hands trembled slightly. "It means they watched us grow comfortable," he said. "They watched us forget." As panic rose, old memories surfaced. Centuries ago, when Earth still existed, some council members had warned against destroying it. Humans were unpredictable. They learned fast. They did not give up. Those warnings were ignored. Now the cost had arrived. Across the galaxy, human ships appeared near key systems. Always peaceful, always silent. But everywhere they went, sensors failed. Weapons powered down. Fleets lost coordination. No explosions. No deaths, just control. Alien commanders realized their technology was useless. Human systems did not jam signals. They rewrote them. The humans had not spent centuries building bigger weapons. They had built better minds. Inside one human ship, a group of officers stood watching the galaxy they once called home. Their faces were calm. Some were young. Some were old. They did not cheer. They did not celebrate. One officer spoke softly. "They still see strength as noise," she said. Another nodded. "Then let silence teach them." Back in the council chamber, fear finally replaced pride. This was not an invasion. This was an evaluation. The humans had returned not in anger, but in clarity, and the galaxy was failing the test. As human fleets settled into position, one truth became impossible to deny. Humanity had not survived by accident. They survived by learning when to speak and when to wait. And now, the waiting was over. The Galactic Council finally understood one thing. The humans were not reacting. They were remembering. Across the galaxy, council worlds went quiet. Defense systems stayed online, but no one trusted them anymore. Every commander felt the same pressure, like being watched by someone who already knew the outcome. Inside the council chamber, historian Valen stood alone at a data terminal. He had not slept. His eyes were red, fixed on files that should not exist. Human files. They didn't vanish, he whispered. They transformed. Valen accessed records from deep space, old trade logs, forgotten signals, strange sightings that had been ignored for centuries. Patterns began to form. Human colonies, hidden habitats, mobile worlds. The humans had scattered. After Earth was erased, they did not search for revenge. They searched for survival. They moved into places other species avoided. Cold regions. Dark systems. Dangerous zones near unstable stars. They chose the hard paths. A junior council member approached Valen. "Why would they do that?" she asked. "Why live like ghosts?" Valen answered without looking up. "Because humans learned something early," he said. "Comfort makes you slow." On the human side, far from council space, a massive command vessel drifted silently. Inside, walls displayed live feeds from across the galaxy. Human analysts spoke quietly. Calmly, they had no need to rush. Commander Hale, a woman with gray hair and steady eyes, watched a council fleet struggle to reorganize after another system failure. "They still depend on systems," she said. "We learn to depend on people." A young officer nodded. "And memory, especially memory." She remembered Earth, not the fire but the days before. Rain, crowded streets, arguments about small things, life. Earth was gone, but it had shaped them. After its destruction, humans changed how they lived. No single capital, no single leader, no single point of failure. They became many, but thought as one. They trained their children differently, not just to fight, but to observe, to wait, to plan years ahead. Anger was taught to cool before action. One old human saying became law. If you strike too soon, you strike twice. So they waited. Back in council space, Admiral Keth reviewed combat simulations. Every outcome ended the same way. Defeat. Human ships did not overpower fleets, they outthought them. They anticipated moves before commands were given. They disabled supply lines without firing a shot. The council realized something terrifying. Humans were not here to destroy the galaxy. They were here to correct it. A council elder finally spoke what others feared. "We made them this way," he said, "by erasing their home." No one argued. Human messages continued to arrive. Not threats, not demands, questions. Why were certain worlds protected and others exploited? Why were smaller species silenced? Why did power always excuse cruelty? Each message felt like a mirror. The council had no answers. Inside the human fleet, Commander Hale addressed her crew. "We are not here for revenge," she said. "Revenge burns fast and leaves nothing." Her voice hardened slightly. "We are here for balance, and balance takes time." The human ships adjusted position. Not closer, not farther. Just enough to remind the galaxy they were there. Watching, learning, waiting. And slowly, the truth settled over every star system. Humanity had not returned as survivors. They had returned as something else, not conquerors, not victims, but a species shaped by loss, sharpened by patience, and guided by memory. And the galaxy was about to learn why erasing Earth had been the beginning, not the end. The first shot never came. That was what confused the galaxy the most. Alien fleets were ready. Weapons were charged. Commanders waited for the moment humans would finally attack. Everyone expected fire. Everyone expected destruction. But the human fleet remained still. Then something stranger happened. Across multiple council systems, power grids began to shut down. Slowly, carefully, military satellites went dark one by one. Defense shields powered off, not all at once, but in patterns too perfect to be accidents. No explosions. No alarm screaming in panic. Just silence. On Council World Prime, the great chamber dimmed as its energy supply dropped to emergency levels. Leaders looked at each other in fear. Admiral Keth whispered, "They're taking everything without breaking anything." Historian Valen felt a chill. "This isn't war," he said. "This is control." A human transmission opened across all major systems at the same time. The image was simple. A human figure standing still, hands visible, voice calm. "We warned you long ago," the human said. "You chose not to listen." No anger filled the words. No pride. Just fact. The speaker continued, "We are not here to punish your people. We are here to end your habits." Council members shouted demands. Some begged, others threatened. The human listened. Then replied, "Your weapons are offline. Your fleets are grounded. Your power is limited to civilian needs." A pause. "You may speak now. Violence is no longer an option." That was when the galaxy understood. Humans had not come to destroy governments. They had come to remove their ability to harm. Across the stars, smaller species watched in disbelief. Worlds that had suffered under council control suddenly felt relief. Supply routes reopened. Trade restrictions vanished. Human systems repaired damaged planets. They shared technology, not weapons, but infrastructure. Clean energy, stable habitats, medical systems. They helped without asking loyalty. That scared the council more than any attack. Inside the human command ship, Commander Hale stood before a display showing dozens of systems stabilizing. "We're changing too much, too fast," a junior officer warned. Hale shook her head. "No, we're restoring what was taken." She remembered Earth again, not just its beauty, but its mistakes. Humans had learned from those too. They would not rule. They would limit. Back on Council World Prime, an emergency session was called. Leaders sat without their usual symbols of power. No floating banners, no glowing platforms. Just chairs. One elder finally spoke. His voice was old and tired. "What do humans want?" he asked. The answer came quickly. "Accountability," the human said, "and memory." The human explained the new order. No planet could be erased again. No species declared expendable. Decisions affecting worlds required shared consent, not dominance. The council protested. "That would end our authority." "Yes," the human replied calmly. "That is the point." The room fell quiet. The council realized they were not being overthrown. They were being reduced. Power returned slowly to systems, but not fully. Humans stayed, watching, adjusting, waiting to see if lessons were learned. Some council members hated it. Others felt something unfamiliar, relief. Across the galaxy, stories spread. Humans did not burn cities. They did not enslave worlds. They did not celebrate victory. They corrected. And the correction was permanent. As human fleets settled into long-term positions, one truth became clear to everyone watching the stars. Humanity had returned not to take revenge, but to make sure what happened to Earth would never happen again. And the galaxy was changing, whether it wanted to or not. The galaxy did not change in one day, but it changed forever. After the human intervention, council systems began to stabilize. Trade routes reopened fairly. Smaller species were given voices they never had before. For the first time in centuries, decisions were made slowly and carefully, under watchful human eyes. Human fleets did not expand. They did not demand territory. They did not place flags on worlds. They stayed where they were, quiet, patient, present. That presence became a reminder. On Council World Prime, the old chamber was rebuilt. The walls no longer displayed symbols of dominance. Instead, they showed records, past decisions, erased worlds, lost species. Earth was listed among them, not hidden, not softened, just truth. Historian Valen stood before a group of young council students. He was older now. His voice carried weight. "Humans taught us something we forgot," he said. "Power without memory becomes cruelty." One student asked, "Why didn't humans destroy us?" Valen paused, then answered honestly, "Because destruction would have proven us right about them." And humans no longer needed to prove anything. Far from council space, humans began rebuilding Earth, not as a capital, not as a throne, but as a memorial. Oceans were restored. Forests were replanted. Ruins were left standing not as scars but as lessons. Humans from many worlds visited the planet. Some cried. Some stood in silence. Earth became a place of memory. Commander Hale walked across an open field where a city once stood. Wind moved through tall grass. The sky was clear. An officer joined her. "The galaxy fears us," he said. Hale nodded. "Fear fades. And respect. That lasts longer," she replied. Humanity did not stay united by anger. They stayed united by choice. As years passed, the council adapted. New laws were written. Old ones were removed. Worlds once considered weak began to grow. And always, humans watched. Not closely, not aggressively, but enough. Stories spread among the stars. Children of many species learned a new warning, not about monsters or weapons, but about consequences. "Never erase a people," teachers said, "especially one that knows how to wait." Human ships slowly reduced their numbers. Some returned to deep space. Some stayed near key systems. Humans did not disappear again, but they no longer needed to be everywhere. The message had been delivered. The galaxy had learned. On Earth, a simple monument was placed near the old ruins. No glowing lights, no grand design, just words carved into stone. Silence is not weakness. Memory is not mercy. Endurance changes everything. Visitors stopped to read it. Many did not fully understand, but they felt it. And somewhere deep in space, far beyond known stars, humans continued to explore. Not as conquerors, not as refugees, but as survivors who remembered who they were and who they refused to become. The Galactic Council still existed, but it no longer erased worlds, because once, long ago, they erased Earth, and after centuries of silence, humanity returned. Not to burn the galaxy, but to teach it. And that lesson would never be forgotten.